This was honestly one of the coziest places we have stayed at in a really long time. The kind of place you escape to when life starts feeling too loud. Where all you want is silence, cold mountain air, and a warm cup of chai in your hands. And maybe that's what made this trip feel different. Because while most of the people come to Mussoorie for famous cafes, crowded mall road, winterline views, and tourist spots, the best part of our trip turned out to be something much simpler. Not sightseeing, not shopping, not even the famous tourist places. It was slowing down for the first time in months. Sitting quietly for hours, watching the mountains, listening to the rain, sipping hot chai, and doing absolutely nothing without feeling guilty about it. But honestly, did Mussoorie actually feel as peaceful as people romanticize it to be? Did we truly fall in love with Ruskin Bond's little hometown landor? Was visiting Lal Tibba actually worth the hype? How easy is it to reach Surkanda Devi temple with kids? And how did it feel standing in front of the massive Tehri Lake, India's largest man-made high-altitude lake? In this vlog, I will take you through our honest and peaceful mountainscape, beyond just the usual tourist checklist. So one morning, we finally decided to leave the chaos of the city behind and quietly took an early morning cab towards Lucknow railway station. Now, our train was at 5 am, which basically meant the trip had already started in the middle of the night itself. I believe the hardest part about catching an early morning train isn't the packing or the journey. It's convincing yourself to leave your warm bed at 3:30 am when your sleep is feeling absolutely perfect. But somewhere in between all that sleepiness and excitement, we had already boarded the Vande Bharat from Lucknow to Dehradun, quietly escaping towards the mountains. Breakfast happened in the train, lunch happened in the train too, and slowly, somewhere between chai, window views, random conversations, and little naps, the train itself started feeling like part of the vacation. Now, honestly, the food wasn't anything memorable. But one thing that genuinely impressed me was how punctual the Vande Bharat was throughout the journey. And after almost 8 hours of travel, we finally reached Dehradun exactly at 1:40 pm. To reach Mussoorie, you first have to reach Dehradun, whether you are traveling by train, road, or flight. The moment we stepped out of the train, the first thing we noticed was the heat. It was month of May, and unlike what many people imagine, Dehradun city itself isn't exactly up in the mountains. So, the summer heat was still very much there. As we headed towards Mussoorie from Dehradun, the traffic from the railway station to the famous clock tower and even beyond that was moving painfully slow. But while sitting near the car window and quietly observing the city outside, Dehradun actually felt surprisingly lively and beautiful in its own way. The markets looked vibrant, big brand showrooms, cafes, local eateries, restaurants, colorful streets. The city genuinely looked worth exploring. Slowly the traffic started thinning out, and finally the roads began climbing into the hills. On the way, our driver suggested stopping at Bhatta Falls and later exploring Mussoorie Mall Road as well. Initially, we were excited for it too. But by then, the kids were already exhausted after the long train journey and road travel. Sleepy faces, low energy. And somehow, in that moment, rushing from one tourist spot to another just did not feel right anymore. So, we quietly decided to save Bhatta Falls for the return journey instead and skipped Mall Road that evening too. At that point, all we truly wanted was to finally reach our stay, relax, and simply breathe for a while. Our stay was located in Suakholi, a little ahead of Mussoorie, away from the crowded tourist rush. By the time we finally reached there, the weather had changed completely. The temperature had dropped because of the altitude, the evening breeze, and a little drizzle. And the moment we stepped out of the car, that sudden cold mountain air felt unbelievably comforting. And while we walked inside the cottage, our hearts were instantly full. It was exactly the kind of stay we had been dreaming about. Warm, cozy, peaceful, yet spacious enough for the entire family, with beautiful mountain views surrounding us from every side. The cottage itself was beautifully designed for a peaceful family stay. It had a spacious living area, a small kitchen space, 3 comfortable bedrooms, and honestly, it instantly started feeling less like a hotel and more like a mountain home. There were also 2 caretakers at the property who helped us with almost everything, from cooking meals, cleaning their rooms and utensils, to even bringing small things from the nearby market whenever needed. And somehow, all these little comforts made the stay feel more relaxing. Because the whole idea behind this vacation was never running from one crowded tourist spot to another. We simply wanted to slow down for a few days, wake up to the mountain views, and just exist away from the noise of everyday life. And this place felt absolutely perfect for that. Slowly, darkness started covering the hills outside. Tiny lights in the distant mountains began twinkling softly. The air turned even colder, and we could actually feel the need for warm clothes. But strangely, despite the cold outside, everything inside felt so peaceful. And that night, I slept unbelievably well. And before I even realized it, the next morning had already arrived. The next day, we honestly did not feel like doing the usual crowded Mussoorie sightseeing. So instead of spending the day around Mussoorie visiting crowded Kempty Fall or Gun Hill, we decided to head towards Dhanolti and Kanatal side. And trust me, that decision completely changed the vibe of our trip. Dhanolti and Kanatal are located at a slightly higher altitude than Mussoorie and are far less crowded. And near Dhanolti lies the beautiful Surkanda Devi Shaktipeeth, one of the 51 sacred Shaktipeeths believed to be the place where Mata Sati's head had fallen. So that morning, we decided to begin our day with a visit to this auspicious temple and seek divine blessings. The temple was around 20 kilometers from our stay, and it took us nearly 1 hour to reach there. En route, there was no traffic, just winding mountain roads, cold breeze, valley views, and endless greenery all around. Surkanda Devi Temple is located at an altitude of nearly 9,000 feet above sea level, surrounded by crisp mountain air and breathtaking Himalayan views. Now, technically, you can trek all the way up to the temple through a beautiful 2 kilometers uphill trail. And definitely that experience itself would be amazing. But since we were traveling with small kids and also wanted to explore more places during the day, we decided to take the ropeway instead. Thankfully, there was almost no crowd at the ropeway counter, and within minutes, we were already moving upwards above the hills. The temple stands amidst a huge open space. And what makes this place even more special is its breathtaking location. You can witness endless valley views stretching far away and the mighty Himalayas standing silently in the distance. After spending some time there and seeking blessings, we decided to head back down using the same ropeway. And honestly, during the return ride too, we simply couldn't stop admiring the views around us. Soon, we reached back down and returned to our cab. Our initial plan was to continue exploring Dhanolti Eco Park and Kanatal next. But then suddenly, somewhere in the middle of the journey, we changed our plan completely. Instead of heading towards Kanatal, we decided to drive all the way to Tehri Lake instead, which is located even further ahead. We had already been surrounded by mountains since yesterday afternoon. So suddenly the idea of witnessing one of India's largest man-made lakes felt far more exciting, refreshing and different. From Surgandha Devi Temple to Tehri Lake was additional 40 kilometers of journey. So once again, we continued driving through winding mountain roads, crossing small settlements and hill towns along the way. And before reaching New Tehri, one place that really stood out was Chamba. Compared to the quieter villages around, Chamba felt like bigger and more active. Local shops, people on roads, it almost looked like the main town of the region. But we had no plans to stop here and just crossed the town seeing it through the car windows. We kept driving further ahead through the mountains, and by afternoon the temperature had already become quite warm. After continuously sitting inside the cab for hours, we had honestly reached that point where all we wanted was for the lake to finally appear. And then suddenly, after more than 2 hours of mountain roads, we saw it, the first glimpse of Tehri Lake. Bright blue water spread endlessly between the hills, and this sight itself felt so relaxing after the long journey. Tehri Lake stretches for nearly 42 kilometers and is India's largest man-made high-altitude lake, formed after the construction of Tehri Dam, the tallest dam in India. Honestly, it didn't feel like just another lake. It looked like a giant turquoise jewel floating in the middle of Garhwal Himalayas. As soon as we stepped out of the cab, our driver told us that we were actually lucky. During summer afternoons, this place apparently gets extremely hot because there's barely any shade around. And looking at this huge open landscape and endless water reflecting sunlight, we could completely understand why. Thankfully, recent rain showers had made the weather incredibly pleasant for us. Cool breeze, cloudy skies, and no harsh sunlight. Everything felt perfect. And honestly, yes, this place was absolutely beautiful. There are water activities here too, but with our two little monkeys constantly trying to run towards the water, we decided to skip them completely. Instead, we simply walked around slowly, soaking in the beauty of lake and the peaceful surroundings. And the best part, the place wasn't crowded at all. After spending a long peaceful time simply sitting there enjoying the views and the silence, hunger finally kicked in. Now don't expect fancy cafes or luxury restaurants around the lake. There were a few small local dhabas and tiny eateries nearby, serving simple hot food to the travelers, where we enjoyed hot Maggi and chai. And with full stomachs, tired eyes, and hearts quietly happy, we finally started our journey back. This time there was no hurry left, no rush to reach anywhere. And I believe mountain roads have this strange magic. For some people, these endless winding roads bring nausea. And yes, some of us suffered through that during this trip too. But for people like me, these roads somehow make the heart feel full inside. So throughout the drive back, I simply kept looking outside the window, quietly admiring the endless views of Garhwal Himalayas. And by the time we finally approached Mussoorie again, evening had already started settling over the hills. Now, no matter how peaceful the offbeat places are, we felt one evening in Mussoorie Mall Road is kind of necessary, especially because Mall Road is best experienced at night, simply walking through the lively streets. So we decided to end our beautiful day with a relaxed walk around Mall Road and soak in those classic Mussoorie vibes. Unfortunately, the exact moment we reached Mall Road, it started raining like crazy. For a while, we simply stood there waiting for it to slow down. And although the rain eventually stopped, the cold winds had already dropped the temperature. Our clothes were slightly wet, the chilly wind was hitting hard. But despite the cold, we continued walking through the lively narrow streets of Mall Road. Fresh bakery shops, tiny street food stalls with people gathering around, glowing souvenir stores under yellow lights, and tourists walking. Everything around us felt so alive. And finally, after wandering through the cold mountain streets for some time, we ended the day with dinner at one of the cozy restaurants in Mall Road. It was the perfect hill station vibe to end such a beautiful day. And just like that, the last morning in Mussoorie quietly arrived. And I must admit, mountain trips always feel a little strange on the final day. It feels like you just arrived yesterday and suddenly it is already time to pack bags and leave. And truthfully, I didn't feel like leaving this beautiful cottage at all. The peaceful mountain views, the cold breeze, the slow mornings, somehow this place had already started feeling like home. But unfortunately, it was finally time to say goodbye. But before heading back to Dehradun, there was still one place left on our list. And no, it wasn't Bhatta Falls. Since we had absolutely no mood left for usual crowded Mussoorie sightseeing, we chose Landor instead, a peaceful cantonment town located just 7 to 10 kilometers ahead of Mussoorie, and also the beloved hometown of legendary Indian author Ruskin Bond. Our first stop there was Lal Tibba, the highest point in Mussoorie. I have heard earlier about the famous viewing platform there, equipped with a telescope from where peaks like Kedarnath, Badrinath and Nanda Devi can be seen. But I know this might sound unpopular. I genuinely felt Lal Tibba is completely overhyped. The binoculars weren't even working properly, and paying ₹50 per person just to climb onto a rooftop viewpoint honestly felt disappointing once we realized there wasn't anything very extraordinary to see from the top. So, if you're planning your trip, my honest suggestion would be don't visit Lal Tibba only for the view, unless you specifically want to sit and eat at the cafe there. After that, we started walking towards the famous Landor Bakehouse, because by then, hunger had fully kicked in. But the moment we reached there, we realized there was a huge waiting time just to get a table. So instead, we randomly walked a little further and entered another cafe called Eat at Sisters, which was surprisingly empty at that moment. We ordered pizza, pasta, coffee, and milkshakes. And to our surprise, everything tasted genuinely delicious. So, if you ever want to escape the Landor Bakehouse crowd, you can definitely try this place instead. After lunch, we slowly walked back towards Char Dukaan. And here the funniest part is, it literally has 4 small shops. While walking around, I slowly realized something else. Landor doesn't feel like a tourist town at all. It feels more like a quiet little hamlet with peaceful church, old colonial houses, narrow lanes, tall trees everywhere, and a different calmness in the air. Everything there feels slow, quiet, and beautiful in its own way. So if you are someone looking for a slow, peaceful vacation, Landor can honestly feel very special. Just don't come here expecting too many tourist activities. And then finally from Chardukan itself, we boarded our cab and started heading back towards Dehradun, where another beautiful stay was already waiting for us. By night, the mood has completely changed again. No sightseeing, no rushing around, no tourist plans. We simply cooked ourselves a warm homemade dinner, had a little indoor picnic together, laughed over random conversations, and slowly ended the night in the most peaceful way possible. And with that, our beautiful Mussoorie trip finally came to an end. If you enjoyed traveling with us through this journey, then do subscribe to our channel for more such honest, peaceful, and real travel experiences. Thank you.